Hello, I'm Elijah Mang. Welcome back to the One Decision Away podcast. Now, in this one, I want to tell a little bit of a story. So, last week I was traveling through the Greek islands, and I went to 3 islands on this trip. And on the second one, I was staying at this camping place. Now, not actual camping, but they had kind of like these little hut tent kind of things. And so when I got into my place, at first I was considering upgrading my room because I was like, I don't think it's going to be that big anyway. I held off on that and I went and checked it out before I decided. And when I got in there, it was so simple and so basic. I got in and at first I was almost like, I don't know, this is a little small. And then I just closed the door, laid on the bed, and I just felt so much peace. And it made me think of this episode, the power of simplicity and the importance of simplicity and bringing more simplicity into your life sometimes, letting go of more things so that you can have more simplicity in your life, or at least reframing your perspective and your attitude in this way. Because so often we search for happiness in a lot of the things that we do in our lives. But happiness doesn't really come from anything that we could possibly achieve, acquire, or have. It comes from our inner state of being. It comes from who we are being in the moment. And this is why I want to talk about simplicity. Because like, in a science experiment, for example, you want to narrow down all of the different factors that may affect the end result. And you want to get rid of every possible one that could change the result so that you have one or two variables, typically one, that allows you to know exactly what is creating the result that you're looking to create or the outcome that you're looking for. And so in happiness, I think it only makes sense that we search for happiness internally without any of the things. And if you've created a lot of success, if you've acquired a lot of things, as most of us have throughout our lifetimes, you realize that that stuff doesn't really bring happiness. Sometimes it fills a certain craving that we have, or a certain desire for status, or whatever that may be. But if we just get rid of all the extra variables and take some time intentionally to put ourselves in a place of simplicity, a place where we can search for that and find that within ourselves without any external stimuli. Because it's really, when you narrow it down like this, it's really not that hard. Now, there may be certain things in the way, like emotions that you've been holding on to or not wanting to face, that are keeping you in a state of resistance and keeping you out of a state of happiness. But you can only work through and overcome those things by being still, by simplifying and going within. That's the only way, because the emotional state comes from within you. And so the emotional state that you're looking for is going to come about from a shift within yourself. And it's so important to find this state from within ourselves, because otherwise we'll just be chasing forever. Like, it doesn't end. And until you can truly find this state within yourself without all of the extra stuff in life, even without a relationship, like if you can find love within yourself without a relationship, then I would honestly argue, if you can't find love within yourself without a relationship, then you're not ready for a relationship. And so in the same aspect, like if you're looking for happiness outside of yourself and you haven't found it within, then everything that you do to find happiness out there in the world through acquiring or achieving a certain level of success is only going to keep you further away from true happiness and fulfillment. And I remember last year in 2023, in the winter, I was taking a road trip by myself down through Oregon and California and then into Arizona. And I was doing a bunch of snowboarding. I was camping out of my car. And I remember waking up several mornings, like a lot of the time during that experience. I would wake up, and first of all, I would be really cold because it was really cold. But then, like, once I, woke up and my mind started going, like, I just felt so much peace and so much happiness. And it was like just me in my car, nothing else. I had all my stuff with me in the car, but sometimes I would wake up and feel like a sense of loneliness, but it seemed to always, if I did feel loneliness, it seemed to always quickly turn into just this feeling of contentment, happiness, and peace. And I think a big part of that was like the simplicity of that experience, of being on that trip, being by myself, not having very much, just whatever I had in my car with me, my snowboard equipment, stuff like that, my cooking stuff, my stove, all of that. It was just the simplicity. And I would wake up and just feel peace. It was like it also, there weren't a lot of demands on me at that time. I wasn't really doing much. I was taking a complete break from any and all work, except for some planning with one of my coaches at that time. But I didn't really have much going on other than just enjoying myself traveling. And it was in a place of like the bare minimum. Like I was just living and also enjoying myself on that trip. But I emphasize that example because it was like I didn't need a lot, but I felt so happy. And I think if we allow ourselves to cultivate a place of simplicity, ideally within our daily lives, it'll help us to really create this foundation and internal connection that allows for an underlying state of peace and contentment to flow into every other area of our life, even through the things that we may normally deem chaotic in our daily life. It'll allow the contentment and peace and inner satisfaction to flow into all of that. And I think that's extremely valuable because especially when it comes to work, you are only going to be as powerful in the workplace as you are powerful within yourself. And I use powerful, but that can be exchanged for so many other words. Like the more peace that you have within yourself and the more you're operating from a place of peace in your daily activities, the more clear-minded, calm, and aligned your responses to daily activities, daily events are going to be. And the more clear you are, obviously the better decisions you make, the better you perform. And it opens up a whole new level of performance that most people probably aren't even aware is there, because most people are operating in their daily life driven through this state of stress, through this state of problem solving, not necessarily through a state of being content, of being present, of being happy, and letting everything flow from that place. And so if you haven't experienced it like on a regular basis, I feel like we've all maybe experienced it, a little bit, even if you haven't gone deep into doing this and cultivating that state of peace and happiness within yourself. Like, we know what it feels like. Like, imagine if you could operate in that way every single day and what that would do for your life, for your relationships, and for your business, and for everything in your life. And it starts with, even if you can't really completely simplify everything in your life, or, just take a break from everything that's going on, how can you cultivate some kind of space of simplicity, of a space where you can really feel into that peace and happiness without any kind of external stimulus? Because until you're able to do that, you're going to constantly be chasing. You're going to be in the chase that most people are always living in, of just satisfying one craving after the other. And until you can find happiness and peace from within yourself and at least address and acknowledge everything that's been in the way of it, then you won't find the true, deeper levels of happiness, contentment, and fulfillment that you want. If you can't find it within while having the bare minimum, just as an example, then you're not going to find it without. You're not going to find it regardless of how much you acquire or achieve. And so I want to leave you with this, keep this one short and simple, and just really emphasize this one point of, maybe you can't create a whole space of simplicity in your life, throughout the majority of your day or whatever, but how can you cultivate some kind of foundational space of simplicity for you to enter into every single day, to get your mind right, to get your spirit right, in the right place, and bring that energy into the rest of your day. Bring that awareness into the rest of your day so that you're not just reacting, but you're able to respond from a place of calm and peace and ease, and live your life in that way. Because this is one of the biggest things that will create a major shift in the way that you experience your life, and also the quality of life and outcomes that you create as a result of who you are being. It's not always about what you're doing and just doing it for the sake of doing it, even if it's in a state of stress and chaotic energy. Who are you being while you're doing what you're doing? That's the question. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know, share your thoughts, your comments, any ideas or anything that came up for you while listening to this. And I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one. You're only one decision away. Remember that.